Okay, I don't know why in the fuck that is. Your guess is as good as mine, but apparently it gets darker if the cell phone, which is just a Galaxy, or is a Samsung Galaxy A21, yeah, by Metro. So, I don't know. If my breath is covered up, then it is dark. If the camera can I don't know, have my glorious, amazing breath, then apparently, oh, cracks me up. Okay, so anyway, I don't know. This is different. I wanted to share this with you, and I'm gonna keep my face panties on because I feel like it's incredibly appropriate. Let's see. Ooh, so doesn't do anything. Once I get there. Oh, I can't see. Okay, whatever. Maybe just turn it. Okay. So. You can see. You probably can't even read that. Okay, so I was listening. I study a bunch of stuff, right? Like I study everything out there under the sun, from quantum physics to all religions, to different theories, shamanism, magic, whatever, energetic healing, blah 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 blah. Do it that way. Luke, I am your father. Sorry. Okay. All right. Yeah, this has been way too much time alone. Now, I was also watching the Gaia channel, right? And then I was watching on the theory of a holographic theory of reality, right? Now, I think it's probably important that I say that, I can't handle that. I can't cover my nose. No, I've never in my life. You know what? I need a cooler one. Hold up. Can't see my giant boobs. You're not real and I'm not real anyway. Nobody's real. Okay. This is just way cooler. It reminds me of Star Wars or whatever. So now I can be like, Luke, I am your father. Okay, so on the holographic universe theory reality, right? The basic concept of a holographic principles is that it is like on the back of your credit card. The back of your credit card, you'll see the little square, little rectangle that's got the shiny on there, right? And you've seen when we were kids, we had like the little holographic things where you turn it one way and you see whatever, and you turn it the other way and you see whatever. Okay. So basically, what that is, and what even quantum physics says, is that each proton contains all of the universal information in this one proton. Now, we also know that in DNA, each piece of DNA or whatever holds the same kind of information. So that is where they get that the fractals, what they call fractals, right? So say you have one big picture or one big thing, one big picture or one big set of information, and then it is all of that information is condensed into tinier little pieces of information or pixels or whatever. And if you shine the light on there, or that energy has a surface, that information, that light information has a surface to reflect on, which is where the holographic stuff comes in, right? Because you can make that into it, or prism, whatever. Then it will recreate all of that information. So we already know that in quantum physics and science, period, that everything is a repetition of itself recreated. So if you break down any kind of geometry or geometrical picture, and then like these swirls, right? The picture is really a series of these swirls created in such a pattern, a set pattern, that it creates something else, right? We all know this. So I'm not going to go through all that. So basically, what I have come to now, see, no, what you got to know that I've never had a spiritual teacher. I didn't have like, the shaman and wherever teach me anything or none of that stuff, right? This is actually information that I have collected, that I have interpreted, and that I have experienced. So basically, the way that I am seeing this, because we all know that that there's what we like to call a unity consciousness out there, and this unity consciousness we can come in and out of, right? Like the Akashic records, past lives, for instance. All this kind of stuff. We can telepathy. We can share information. We also know, and I'm just going to throw this in. It's going to be off, but it's going to come together here in a bit, later on. So just bear with me, okay? There's also like telekinesis, for instance. I'm just going to bring that up. We already know that there is telekinesis. That there are people that can move stuff with their mind or their thoughts and lift stuff. We've seen little stuff. We haven't ever seen anything on a large, massive scale yet, for the majority of society, right? Okay, whatever the F that is, but we'll go with it. Now, we know that information travels in waves, right? In waveform, which is also what they call a frequency. There's a band frequency, which is the wave, which I always like to. I've always referred to it as like this is like an imaginary PVC pipe in the air, and this imaginary PVC pipe container will contain a small group of frequencies ranging from, I don't know, I'm just going to make this up as an example. So say a 42 hertz to 60 hertz is contained in this one imaginary PVC pipe, right? And your radio, you got to tune your radio station or your cell phone or your police scanner or your radar detector. Radar detector is a good example, because a radar detector is built to detect cops who are scanning your vehicle to see if you're speeding. Now, this is back in the day, so I don't know. Some of you people might not even know what that is, but this was a real thing. And they could sell them legally, and then now they're illegal. But everybody who's ever had one, like I had one, it doesn't say how old I am because time doesn't exist, but we'll leave it at that. So You can drive by, you can be going down the road, right? And then all of a sudden your police scanner goes off. And you're like, what the fuck? I don't see any cops anywhere. Oh, you have to excuse me for it. So with F, I don't see any cops anywhere. Oh, but I just drove by the bank, who has an alarm system, which is on the same frequency, right? So it's in the same imaginary PVC pipe. So keep that in mind, because that's a good way to look at things. So with spirituality and all this is we all know that okay, I'm not gonna say y'all or everybody, because it's we, but anyway, you might notice sometimes, if you pay attention, in your town, the area, your circle of friends or whatever, the people that you encounter that day. Say you go out, you got a bunch of errands to run that morning, and you go out in town, and everybody that you talk to, that's in your particular, circle, family circle or friend circle or whatever, and then even people that you run into, like, everybody seems to be in the same mood, right? Everybody's in the same mood. It's the same kind of crap. Like, everybody seems to be having a crappy day, right? Or everybody seems, to be having a good day. So we know that is awfully weird. We also know that if we think back to 10 years ago, and 10 years ago seems to be like the magic number. It's not, obviously, but I mean, it's a good example, because times have changed so much in the last 10 years. But 10 years ago, you were not going to see that kind of, that same kind of, I'm not going to say, I'm going to put a negative connotation on it, but that same connectedness, that sameness. Okay, that sameness. So, like, everybody's not going to be doing the same thing every day, because that's weird. You're like, wait a minute, what is this, the Truman Show, right? Okay. You know that you can go on, you know that what you look for, you shall find, no matter what that is, whether it be good or bad. You can always find information to support that. You know that, or we know, I gotta stop saying the you and the me, but we know that if we are in a bad mood, then, or we're used to bad relationships, for instance, we will unconsciously look for bad things to go wrong, and we will find them. We will find them everywhere. It will be there to support us, right? So anything that we believe and that we look for, we shall find, and we find it outside of ourselves, right? And what we like to call the physical world. So what does that tell us? That tells us that our thoughts, obviously, either, for the very skeptical people out there, we either manifest the world that we experience as individuals, or at the least we influence it a lot, right? Because we would have to, and we're proving that, because we know that what we choose to think about is what we experience in our reality. Because there's nothing that you can tell me that you believe and it doesn't happen. Can you? You can't. Because if it didn't happen, you wouldn't believe it. So then we come back, that's kind of like the whole question of the chicken and the egg, right? What came first? Well, I solved that question. It's the cock. The cock comes first. And that's CUM, I'm just saying. Close your ears, children. It's not for kids. So, yeah, and there's a picture of a big rooster. Yeah, I'm making that from my cousin. I thought it was freaking hilarious, and that's true that. With the whole chicken and egg, that's actually a great analogy, because the question of what comes first, the chicken or the egg, or the microcosm or the macrocosm. The macrocosm being, just as an example, like the big universe, and the microcosm being the small universe. So the chakra centers inside and the corresponding planets in the solar system. Um, the solar system would be the macrocosm, and then the inner chakras of each individual would be the microcosm, right? Okay, so the the solar system is the chicken, and we could be the egg, but we're also the chicken, because we also know that the worst is that the snake will eat its tail. Okay, and so death is the beginning of life, like the phoenix. Okay, so there's a ton of like correspondence that you can put together, that you can make click in your mind. So anything that you've heard, this is all going to fall in together, because it's all the same concept. It's just explained in different ways in different cultures, when there wasn't a unified language like there is now for everybody to understand. So they explained it in the ways that they knew best how to, and then of course those explanations were interpreted, and then that interpretation was based on individual perceptions, and then a agreed upon perception to print and then put out. And then of course when you read something like, say, the Bible or the Quran, or The Alchemist, or a book by J.W. Ward, your favorite mystery novel or romance novel or whatever, when you go to a book club and you talk to the people in the book club, everybody has a different interpretation of what that book was saying, and that's what makes book clubs so interesting, right? I mean, that's why they do it, because it's interesting to see how the person internalized and processed and interpreted the information that they were receiving. And okay, now I bring this up because that right there is exactly what's going on with these little tiny protons. So this is my understanding of it right now. Now, I'm not saying what I'm understanding is accurate at all by any means. I'm only expressing this because I don't know. I felt like I needed to, because I just feel like I need to, and it's helping me. It helps me interpret the information in a way by we're a way that we can understand it in layman's terms, kind of like those books that they have for dummies, because we're not dummies, but they got like they got cooking for dummies, they got gardening for dummies, they got whatever, the big yellow freaking books, you know what I mean, with black writing, that breaks it down in layman's terms, right? So because a lot of the words, I mean, because there's so many words out there, and then a lot of those words people just do not use on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? And like okay, so like poop, for instance, right? So this isn't putting anybody down or nothing of that nature, because I'm having to break it down in layman's terms so that I can understand it. Because even though I hear it and I know what a lot of those words, what the words mean, it is still hard for me to relate to it, because it's just not processing in my everyday mind, right? So this is how. And then I'm a comedian, pretty much. Like, I'd love to laugh, and that is how I transmute energy quite a bit with myself. So all kinds of funny stuff goes through my head. Okay, anyway, I am my own best friend. It's awesome. I don't even need anybody. Still, because they're not as funny as me. Just kidding. There's tons of funny people out there. Alright, so I got confused. Oh yeah, what's this? Okay. So, okay, and so I need to explain what source is and what the idea is about that. So source is, to my understanding, is a term, is a really good term used by Abraham Hicks as, you know, the vortex or whatever, right? I think the vortex is more the flow. In alignment, well, in alignment, I guess, would be the flow, and then the vortex is the source in the right, the connectedness of what makes you happy. I'm going too far into that. Okay, so I just need to avoid that. So scratch that. Okay, yeah, what do I have on here? I have, and you can't see that backwards. All right, so you can think of, let's see. Okay, so like the Godhead, Source, the All, Mind. For you AI people out there, computer mainframe, a sentient being, source of information, the sun, raw. You know, there's a ton of names for this, though, or Thoth, or Tahuti, or, you know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like one of those people. I say Uranus and I still laugh. Oh, yeah. I grew up in the time of Beavis and Butthead, so, you know. And Ren and Stimpy. Still kind of funny stuff. So, anyway, that is the many different names for the power that is greater than us, because we also know that in manifesting, the reason we can manifest is because we know that thought is power, it's energy. You use emotions, and emotions is energy in motion, and that it's okay to manifest or ask for, not ask for, but to desire to experience a relationship with a particular individual, and that is not against, that is not breaking any kind of moral code, because we also know, and science has proven, that reality is indigenous to the individual, okay? Which means that we know that with the split experiment, that all realities are happening all at once, just like photosynthesis, when light hits the top of the plant leaf, right? So the light shoots through all of these different paths on the leaf to find the exit, right? To get to where it's going to be transmuted, right? So whenever, you know, and it'll go this way and then dead end, you know, oops, dead end, or life, you know what I mean? Like this in this life, you decided to, you know, make a left instead of a right. You got hit by a car and you died. You just happen to be born, you know, just happen to be born as you during the Holocaust or something, and so you ended up passing away. You know what I mean? So, and then in this life you were rich, and in this life you were poor, and in the, you know, because there's full of all of these choices and probabilities. So all of those scenarios are going on at one time, and so. These are all examples. These are not any attacks or anything like that on any race, creed, color, bad thing that ever happened in the universe. So don't take it that way. If you do take it that way, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't mean it that way. And nothing I can do. Your perception is different than my perception. So nobody's right, nobody's wrong. And that's another thing. So anyway. So every possibility is going on at the exact same time, but only one will continue through till the end. Well, actually, the one that you notice, or is that you're aware of, is where your conscious and your attention's at, right? Because these are all going on at the same time, and since they're all going on at the same time, you're like, well, why don't I know? Why can't I, you know, feel this life and this life and that life and this life? Well, because it would drive you bananas. But there are bleed overs. And as a matter of fact, I had a bleed over, what was it? Saturday. I was on a bus, and it's the second time I ever took the bus. It was the first time that I've ever took this route, right? And I'm riding on the bus, I'm looking out the window, and I see this big grassy, okay, first off, I live in the freaking desert, right? So there's no grass. But this neighborhood, like I'm driving through, we're riding through, I'm looking out the window, and it's all, like the concrete houses and stuff like that, and palm trees and blah, blah, blah. And dirt everywhere or whatever. And you'll see some yards and stuff with some grass. They got the money or they're making or whatever. But then all of a sudden there's this big like field, and it's like a soccer field almost, but there's no goals or posts or nothing, and it is sunk in the ground. Like it is like a step down, you know what I mean? Like you go down, like it goes like this and then it levels out, right? So it's like that. And then the roads up here, some nice houses and crap, and some nice houses over here. And then across the street is this really, really nice school. Well, I went and played like soccer or played some kind of game there before with people I knew in the service. As a matter of fact, actually, what the hell was her last name? Actually, Gochner is her last name now, or it's not her last name now. It's her name. Yeah, her name now is Haran. Ashley Haran. It used to be Gochner, and then something else before that. But I swear to God, like whenever I seen it, I specifically remember and I recognized the place. Me and Ashley were playing some kind of game, like sports activity game, with just a group of friends, and we had like some drinks and stuff, a cooler, and because and we were down there playing it and shit, and I remember seeing the school across the thing, and I remember it, in detail. But I couldn't tell you that really happened. Like, I don't remember that happening in this life at all. So that's what you call a bleed over. Like, that had happened. I think that happened in a different reality. Well, it had to have happened on a different reality, different time or whatever. And maybe that's like an intersection, you know what I mean? Or I just seen it, and then, that's what triggered the memory, because we're all in the same... since we all are connected, we all have access to the Akashic records. We all have access to all of this information that every other human being has, because we're all connected. So since there's a whole chicken and egg thing, you got the macrocosm and the microcosm, and we are like, God is in us, and we are within God, or we are of God. You know what I mean? So it's like your parents and then your child. Your child is a part of you, and the child is a part of the parent, and the parents are a part of that child. So they're experiencing life from different perspectives, which a different perspective is what we can call individuality, right? Or individualism, I guess, because it's a perspective that this one being has from its way of interpreting information, kind of like by its experiences excuse me, that's had in life. So kind of like cell phone programs, right? Or programs on a cell phone. So cell phones get you gotta buy a new cell phone and a new computer like once every 6 months, because they either upgrade or they got a new operating system, right? And so you've got to continuously upgrade your phone until the capability of the phone that you have, because your cell phone's kind of like a container, it's a particular operating system and it can handle some upgrades, but if it gets too high of an upgrade, that it will not be able to handle the new operating system. Therefore, that particular cell phone is no good to you, if you're trying to keep up with technology. Does that mean that cell phone is no good? No. Does it mean no, it doesn't. Does it mean that the cell phone doesn't work anymore? No, it doesn't. It just means that, you got the shitty cell phone. You know what I mean? Like, if we're buddies and I've got the new Samsung whatever, or the new Apple, and I got the newest operating system, and I can make make these badass videos or whatever, and it's a phone call thing, and I'm gonna send it to you, and then like it pops, and I send it to you in a text message format, and then your phone can't translate that information that I sent through the wave frequencies, which is information thingies that are contained in a invisible PVC pipe in the air. The ether would be the unseen, right? The air, because we know the air is there, but we can't really see it. So that is like a proton, and then the wave. That's how information wave, whatever the hell, that travel. I can't believe I forgot the word. Anyway, so okay. The information that I'm sending to you in the frequency, the information gets there, but your capability, your cell phone's capability, or computer's capability, your cell phone's capability is not up to speed or able to handle or interpret the information in the waveform that it was sent in, the format that it was sent in, because your phone doesn't have enough pixels, right, to recreate this holographic image that is going to be projected out, right? Okay, so we follow me now. So obviously it's going to show up and be like, can't open file or whatever, or it'll have like the little on there, and you're like, man, motherfucker, right? Because I have a friend, and I would send like little I would send clips, right? Little videos, really, really short, trying to make it as minimal as possible. But poor Robert's always had a really crappy phone. Yes, Robert, you have a shitty phone. You've had a shitty phone ever since I've known you. God love you, but it's time for you to do something great for yourself and get yourself a better phone. Go to Metro PCS, my particular favorite place. They bounce off any tower. When I say unlimited service, and there's no contract, and I'm not selling this. I'm not rep for Metro, by the way. YouTube. It's just my opinion, and I'm not being paid for this in any way. It just is truly my favorite, and it's common sense. It's like, you know what I mean? Like there's no your unlimited service doesn't mean it doesn't slow down like it does on every other freaking cell phone company out there. Okay, because it'll be like remember like Straight Talk in Kansas. It says unlimited, and then after you use so much data, then it goes like super slow, right? And it blows ass. Metro's not that way. When it says unlimited, it means unlimited, right? So it doesn't change in any way from what you already have, right? So they're awesome, and you get a free phone whenever you switch service. So Robert, go there and get you one, okay? Get you. Yeah, this is the one that I'm talking on now in this video is actually an older phone, an older version phone, but it's still really, really good. I personally like Samsung the best, but so this one's like a Samsung A21. So get that. So whenever I send you a little clip video, whenever I'm like hiking or whatever, you can actually open it up and you can see me flipping you off in you know, virtual reality. Sorry. Okay. So now, and then of course there's now back to subject. So back to the holographic theory of reality, being that 2D information sent out in fragments, and then interpreted, right? We also know, before I step into this, that color doesn't exist. And everything I'm saying you can Google, right? So, and get off a scientific website, right? So, like, I mean, go to like Science Today, or I don't know, go to a college research paper thing or whatever. I mean, it's there. Go to government document. It's all there. So frequencies, waves, and it's also vibration, right? So you change your vibration, then that's how you tune into different frequencies, and you can be happier or you can be really bad, you know. That's that. Now we also know that our eyes, which are like prisms, right? That takes in information, these invisible protons, particles, whatever you want to call them. I don't give a crap what you call them. Your eyes takes in what's out there, and then there's a like a mirror back there, and it's flipped right, and then it reflips so that you can see it right side up. But it shows you colors and all this kind of stuff, and then you have people that are colorblind, right? Because so we know how the eyes work. So that's how we actually physically perceive information and interpret it. And then of course we, because all of our sense organs will do an interpretation for us to be able to identify what it is around us. Like some people, smells, like your nose. Some people don't like, I don't like the smell of, I hate the smell of pork being boiled. Now, boiled pork isn't that bad. I mean, it's not really bad. It doesn't really taste bad. It tastes almost kind of tastes like cabbage. I can't remember, but it's been a while since I ate boiled pork. And pork is a ugly plant that grows common in Kennett, Missouri. Just busted that one right out. No, my ex's grandma, Ruby, she used to boil this pork, and the pork itself it didn't taste bad, but the smell of it when they were boiling it was like, oh my God, it was this horrible, horrible, horrible smell. But it didn't bother them, right? So it wasn't no big deal. But like I could come in from work and be like, oh my God, they're boiling pork, no, you know, to go hide in the bedroom. I'm like, I ain't helping do dishes. I ain't helping do nothing today. But that's just the way that this body or whatever, this tool, interprets the information that comes in through the nostrils, however that goes. I do not know how that works. I'm not going to go into it. Then you have your ears. So what is a beautiful sound to one person isn't a beautiful sound to another, even though that we know that sound is a frequency. I guess depending, I don't really know how that works either, but I do know this. I know that, like, for me, I no longer watch TV. I watch YouTube because I research stuff, right? So it ain't like I watch YouTube for, you know, like YouTube for dumb stuff, you know, just random crap. And I don't watch TikTok and none of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And I don't listen to the radio. Why? Because standard tuning is at 440 frequency. The 440 frequency, we all know already, shuts down the right side of your brain. or shuts down 90% of your brain. And so now that I had stopped watching outbursts, like I was like, oh no, and of course, you know, and I was by myself, and so it was quiet, and then I had to go inward and learn me. And at first I was just like, this is so lonely, and you know, how can people do this? And you know, I'm so lonely. You know, it just really sucked. And then after a while, I was like, well, this is great. I think you learn to love the silence. And then once you get past your learning all the stuff about yourself that isn't so pretty, and then figuring out why that those things are not pretty to you, or why you think that they're not pretty. Like, is that really your thought, or was that something that was programmed into your, you know, programmed for you to believe? Because from the time that we're born till we're 7, our brain frequencies are in the theta and delta state. And so that is when our subconscious mind is being programmed. You can also call that brainwashing. You can call it whatever you like. I don't like to use brainwashing because it's got a negative connotation, but it's science. That's the way it is. That's why you've always heard the saying, give me the first 7 years of the child, and I'll show you the man. That's why. Okay. None of this stuff is new. This is the same stuff that our parents told us, that our grandparents told us. Nobody really paid attention to it because we got, I don't know, whatever. But back to where we were going, if I can remember where the hell that was. I can't. Shit. Give me a minute. Oh yeah, interpretations, right? Okay, so 2D hologram, one sorts. Oh yeah, colors don't exist. Colors do not exist. Oh yeah, so it was on senses. So yeah, so each sense does different stuff and that kind of stuff, and then of course you have each person's perception, which was programmed. Their beliefs were programmed in them from the time they were born to the time they were 7. So that is what we call bias, or whatever, known biases, unknown biases, whatever, right? Okay, and those affect your perception. So that gives you more information on why and how reality is really indigenous to each individual, because we in our experience is all craft who we are, right? So yeah, I mean, some of us grew up in one neighborhood, some of us grew up in another, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of us had it pretty easy, some of us had it pretty rough, that kind of shit. Stuff. So, that being said, all of that is still, that all goes down to and supports a holographic principle. And why our senses fall into that is because one of the things is our eyes, and that's a telltale sign right there that there's obviously more that meets the eye. Funny, huh? Okay, so color doesn't exist. There is no color. What does exist is complete darkness, right? Oh, when I say complete darkness, let me rephrase that. Okay, darkness or black exist, and there's different shades of darkness, right? So like you can take and it's still the same way, and where that comes from, I don't know, because that would imply that there's another surface of reflection somewhere that is beyond us, which obviously I guess would come from the all, maybe, I don't know, on why that there's, whenever you close your eyes, that there's different shades of darkness. And so everybody, you can try that by all means. Close your eyes, take your hand, cover them up, and open your eyes and look, you know, and then you'll be able to see, like, you'll see different little flashes of lights, or not flashes of lights. Sometimes when you meditate, like when I meditate, I can see colors. So I know that's not like true with everybody, but shades of darkness in your eyes, right? I mean, you can tell the difference. So color exists only when light hits a prism and it reflects, right? And it makes it refractions. It hits a surface. The light information bounces off, creates this color. These 7 basic colors, like the 7 chakras, there's 7 planets, right? And so here we are in that loop, that circle, the chicken or the egg or whatever. So the holographic theory can fit in to spirituality, into all of that, because, and this is my, oh yeah, I'll just show you, maybe I should show it upside down. No, it's not gonna work. Okay. Okay, so basically what I have going on here, and I'll just point them out, is so the way a hologram works there's a flat surface, right? And on this flat surface is what is all the information. There's like this film, it reflects off itself, right? So that is what I like to call, or what they call, or can be called, the event horizon, because it contains all this information, right? So a computer mainframe, it could be called the source, it could be called mind, it could be called the Godhead, your higher self, whatever. On this particular theory and spiritual, I like to call it the 2D holographic event horizon, source, Godhead, computer mainframe, blah, 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 right? And then, so from it, okay, oh yeah, okay. Right before I say this, I gotta interject this because I forgot it while ago. So we also know in quantum physics that protons that come from one proton, so there's quantum entanglement, and so the quantum entanglement also explains the unified conscious theory, which in unified string theory and all that stuff, which is the ability, or what creates, or the principles of telepathy and being able to communicate to atoms or 2 protons or whatever, no matter how far apart, will simulate each other. If you do something to this proton, almost like twins. Here we go, I have twins, so there's an example. So, and they you know, Hitler tested this horribly with twins. Thank God my twins were not born during that time, because I would skin Hitler alive, but that's a whole other story. So, this whatever you do to this proton, or whatever this proton learns, right? This proton's just gonna know. It's just gonna like, but bam, it's gonna be like that that automatic knowing, right? So, and that can also correlate with what in spirituality they say in the creation theory, where they talk about the oversoul, right? The oversoul, like the Godhead create, there's aspects of the source God, right? So it's like a tree, and so you have like God or source, and then you have the 4 elements, or the 4 archangels, or the four aspects, or angles, same stuff. Angles in astrology, different planets, whatever. You got all these different aspects that have these different characteristics, right? Different characteristics of the Godhead. And for a better way to explain that in layman's terms, I'd like to refer to my mother in this one, because my mother's just a great example. So, Mom, I love you. Okay, and yes, I'm so talking about you, because my mother was one of those women's, like, she, like, you can't stick my mom into a box, right? So, and my mother was one of those women who, She's very, very independent, very strong woman. She taught me a lot too, by the way. As a matter of fact, if my mother didn't raise me with like for me in my life, like her strict, hardcore morals and stuff, bend don't break. You know, what goes up comes down. You get what you give. You know, that kind of thing. This causes that, cause and effect kind of thing. Yeah. So it wasn't for that. I mean, it's because of that, like, all of this kind of came together, because really whenever I was watching, it was like seeing my mom explain this stuff. So my mom, and this, okay, my mom has not my mother doesn't have many sides. That's not what I mean to say. What I mean to say is my mother enjoys, oh, excuse me, my nose running. My mother, it's a good thing I have this damn thing on. My mother enjoys, just like me, enjoys many different things. Like, she likes country music. She likes some, she likes country music. She likes some older rock, obviously. She likes some R&B. She likes some rap music, not very much. But, Nappy Roots is always a winner. Russ. She's got a new guy that's like a funk kind of guy, and he's really cool. He's from overseas. But my mother likes all these different things, right? So my mother, she's very culturalized. That's a good word. No, she's not very cultured. Well, she is very cultured. She just doesn't like all the cultures that she's. Yeah, I took her to Washington, and she goes through McDonald's up there for breakfast, apparently with my son, and she's going to get breakfast. I'm doing whatever at the house, or again, maybe I was getting ready for like school or something. I don't know. And so she takes her from work and whatnot, because I went to college too, like after I was an adult, so it wasn't like, I live with my mom anyway. So yeah, well, I guess I should probably explain that. So my mom is so awesome. Like, my husband at the time was deployed in Afghanistan, and it was the beginning of our double tour, and then I was going to Iraq, so we're doing 2 years back to back, right? So before I left for Iraq, I was like, oh shit, so I had to go, sorry, Facebook or YouTube, had to ask my mom. I was like, man, can you really help me out? Like, I gotta go, and I'm deploying, and Dan's gonna be gone, and so she chose to leave her job, like left her long-term job, her car, her home, and everything, and just come up there to Washington, right? So, and I'm sure that right there really played a role in what happened next. Because then, in the country, in Missouri, biscuits and gravy is like, that is breakfast. Man, you get biscuits and gravy. You get served biscuits and gravy before you get served eggs. You know what I mean? Like, eggs is optional. Biscuits and gravies and fried potatoes are mandatory, and bacon. Bacon in my house, but some people it's bacon, some people it's sausage. I guess let's just say sausage is mandatory for most people. I guess it would be, because sausage goes in biscuits and gravy. You can't have biscuits and gravy without sausage, but anyway. So mom goes to McDonald's, and she goes to the drive-thru, and she orders biscuits and gravy, because, the whole state has biscuits and gravy. Multiple states in the South have biscuits and gravy. Apparently, they do not have biscuits and gravy in Washington State at McDonald's. The West Coast. I guess it's not a normal thing. And so the way this really went down was, mom was like, I'd like to order some biscuits, gave her whatever number it was supposed to be. And the woman was rude, of course, because this woman is thinking, obviously, that my mom is being a smart aleck and like just going through the drive-thru trying to cause problems, wanting this biscuits and gravy, because obviously this woman's lived there, for a long time, and they obviously don't serve biscuits and gravy at McDonald's, and don't serve biscuits and gravy at any of the McDonald's, on that side or in that area, right? So she's thinking that this is some kind of joke. So she's like, she's got kind of an attitude, and so of course my mom, that triggers my mom into having a an attitude too. And when you have two attitudes butting heads, and you're talking West Coast versus Butler County, Southeast Missouri, Butler County's gonna win because they just get louder and meaner, right? So it becomes this huge thing. So the woman gets smart with my mom. My mom's like, whoop, and the horse she rode in on. Yeah. So that my mom comes back, she's like, I'm leaving this damn state. And I'm out of here. I can't believe, I don't know what's wrong with you people. I was just like, my grandma be rolling over in her grave and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, whoa, what happened here? And so it turns out that it was all over biscuits and gravy. So you cannot mess with, so just tip for anybody, don't ever mess with the Southern woman's biscuits and gravy or sweet tea either. Because you can be just a bad thing, bad deal. So yeah, back on somebody. I'm sorry, I had to tell that story. It was great. So, oh Lord. So mom, whenever her and my Aunt Kim or whatever would decide, to go out and to have the ladies' night or whatever, right? Because all of us love to dance and stuff like that, So they love to dance to all different kinds of stuff. So my mom, my Aunt Kim, they would go line dance. My mom was gonna go learning some waltz or something like that with our Dr. Bean. That's gonna pull me. Oh yeah, we got good healthcare. Oh God. Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that at all. No, he's I really liked Dr. Bean. I was really sad whenever he left. Yeah, he was our doctor for like forever. Of course, so like everybody knows each other, and you see a doctor for so long, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't, especially if you're friendly, you can't not know them. You know what I mean? You better get personal, because if I don't know my doctor, then you ain't my doctor. We either gonna be connected or we ain't got it, right? So, of course, with that, as a woman, you dress accordingly, right? So, country dances are when you're going to go line dance, or you're going to going to the Eagles, line dance, or you're going out for the weekend and they play a majority of country stuff. Then my mom would wear her country clothes, right? So she would have her rhinestone cowgirl, cool stuff on, and she would wear that to go do that. When she was going to do the wall stuff, then she would be wearing, really nice dress, or slacks or whatever, you know what I mean? It was a totally different attire. And so, and whenever she would go out with me, because I talked her into going to some clubs. Scooters is the place that we used to have out at Wapella. And so, and I used to love to dance too. My mom was a really good dancer. So we would go out there, and of course, we had club clothes on or whatever. Yeah. Don't ever do this because, okay, so back then we had like super cool clothes, and my mom was always been really fit. And of course I was really fit back then too. And we were all tan, and like in our prime or whatever. So we had like these awesome cool tops that just really weren't even tops. As a matter of fact, there was like a time period where it was like a scarf, you know what I mean? Like a bandana is what it was. And it come down to a point, and like it was just tied in the back with a freaking string. Okay, so mom had this top that had like all of these strings things, and I was a little toasty, and she was out there dancing, and I might have been a little drunk, and so I pulled the string. Whoo, she whooped my ass. I got beat down on the dance floor. There's nothing like getting your ass whooped to the dance floor by your mother. She was like, quick. I was like, whoa. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, okay, so anyway, different things for different stuff. Damn, I got onto that one. Crap, sorry. My memory lane. My mom's got cancer, so anyway. Where was I going with that? If I had a sad moment all the time, then I have like a temporary shutdown on information. So let's see, interpretation. Oh yeah, so it's like wearing different clothes for the different places. So everybody. Oh yeah. So every. I forgot. Okay. Shit. I did forget. Okay. I think I really forgot that time. So let's see, I'm trying to think. So these hand movements are they're just triggers for me to try and remember where I was at, because it all correlates. Just like that, like the tree of yes. Different things for different things. So okay. So Godhead, over souls, right? Aspects. Yes, aspects. Like country and like, okay, yeah. So the different aspects, angels of God, the 144,000, the oversouls, and then those oversouls like multiplied on down fragments of themselves. So in that, it's like, so the one is the all, and the all is part of the one. So it's just different aspects breaking down in smaller aspects for individuals or having an experience as an individual, which people like to call in this human experience. Oh my God, I've been talking for an hour. Holy crap. Okay, anyway, and so on and so on. So this is the deal. This is the way I kind of figured it out. So I call this the 2D holographic event horizon, God source, blah, 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 blah. These are like the angels or the oversouls, are protons, or fragments, or I'll get on down to that here in a minute. So, okay, yeah, I guess I probably just better read it. So this is the way it goes. Event horizon, mind, God, Godhead, source, whatever. The spirals, like in the golden